It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
SportsCenter all night. Can the Golden Knights take a commanding 3-1 series lead in the Stanley Cup Final?
There is Zach Whitecloud, finds his man down the middle. It's Stevenson. He scores!
The Dodgers look to end the Phillies' winning streak on ESPN Radio.
Next pitch is blasted in the air to right center field. Way back goes Castellanos to the warning track, to the wall, and it's gone.
We look ahead and preview Game 5 of the NBA Finals as the Nuggets edge closer to holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Everybody thought it was over after the Game 6 loss in the conference finals, going to Boston in Game 7, just like everybody thinks it's over now. And it's not over till you win 4 times.
Plus, all the action from around the diamond.
The 3-2 fly ball deep left center, trouble all the way back, and that ball is off the wall.
This is SportsCenter all night.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it, which the price of Dippin' Dots with inflation is just unreal. So for a brief moment, I was like, damn, Dippin' Dots sound good.
Here's Chris Lewis.
SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app is presented by Progressive Insurance. Game 4 of any 7-game series is really the headline game, right? If the teams are anywhere near evenly matched, the series is typically 2-1 entering the 4th game. Well, it's the true pivot point. Does a team down in the series get the win to make it a toss-up? Or does the team up take that commanding 3-1 lead and become the overwhelming favorite? Those were the stakes of the Stanley Cup, with the Golden Knights up 2-1 over the Panthers with Game 4 in South Florida. If you're wondering if the OT winner in Game 3 would carry over into Saturday, Vegas made that a moot point early.
There is Zach Whitecloud, finds his man down the middle. It's Stevenson. He scores! Whitecloud to Stevenson, and the Knights take a 1-0 lead less than 2 minutes into Game 4.
Fox Sports 98.9 with the call. That was the only goal of the opening period that was largely controlled by Vegas. With only one tally to show for it, though, the Golden Knights made sure to double their lead in the second.
Stone slowing Bennett's breakout attempt to the far side. Stahl is checked in a neutral zone. Puck comes back to the Vegas end. Hayes rips it forward. Tip puck gathered by Stevenson. Backhands it forward. Swatted into the zone. Down the left wall by Stone. He breaks left circle. Looks to the middle of the shot. Stevenson scores.
Well, each team added one more goal in the second period, which put Vegas up 3-1 going into the third, looking to take a 3-1 series lead. But Florida overcame a deficit in Game 3, showed that same form in Game 4.
Mark Stahl over for Montour. Montour right to left across your radio to Lundell, left wing side. Down low, Montour backhand in front, right circle shot, and they score! Barkov, and the Panthers are back to within 1.
560 WQAM. So Florida, you heard it right there, within one goal at home as time winding down to the third. A script that felt eerily familiar to Game 3, where the Panthers scored with under 3 minutes left to tie it up. This time, it was different.
Reinhardt shoots, blocked. Whitecloud stick breaks. Centering pass kicked away by Carlson. 5 seconds to the right. A shot blocked by McNabb. Rebound is loose. Pushed to the corner, and time runs out. The game is over. The Knights survive.
The Knights do survive. Golden Knights 3, Panthers 2, as there is some pushing and shoving after the fact. A lot of emotion. No surprise, but it is the Golden Knights who take the 3-1 series lead. Teams up 3-1 in a best-of-7 in the Stanley Cup Final have won 36 of 37 series, 97%. The only team to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the Stanley Cup Final, the 1942 Maple Leafs, who came back from 3-0 to defeat the Red Wings. Chandler Stevenson scored the first 2 goals for Vegas, his second career multi-goal playoff game. He explained it after the game with ESPN's Emily Kaplan.
Chandler, super important game for your team, and you scored the first 2 goals. What's that like?
I mean, it's special. I've never had a goal in the finals, so it's a special feeling, and to get 2, was awesome. I mean, it was a great play by Whitey on the first one, and great play by Sony on the second one.
You guys go up 3-0, and then they make it 3-2. What's going through your mind when that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of the toughest things to go through. I mean, they always push. Any team that's down, they got nothing to lose, so they're always pushing. And that one, the first one was a little bit defeating. I mean, the bounces that it took, but I think we've been in that situation, and it seems like we always learn from the mistakes. So it was nice to close that one out tonight.
Now you guys go home to Vegas. The Cup's going to be in the building. You have a chance to win it. What's that going to be like for your group?
I mean, it's different. It's not really like any other game. It's everything's more heightened. You can kind of feel it, and I mean, that's what you dream about. So for that to be what's at stake, it's a lot of feeling and emotion are into it for sure. But I think if we just keep playing how we are and just have a killer instinct, I think we'll be okay.
What do you think the environment's going to be like in Vegas on Tuesday?
Hopefully it's loud. Hopefully can give us some energy, and I hope that we can win it there in front of the home crowd. They've been outstanding since day one, so that'd be awesome.
Golden Knights 3, Panthers 2. Chandler Stevenson, the third Golden Knights player with a multi-goal game in the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas, the first team that had 3 different players with a multi-goal game in the Cup Final since the Avalanche in 1996. On SportsCenter, analyst Mark Messier told us what is clicking with Vegas.
Well, they do all the little things well that don't necessarily show up on the score sheet. And they have that defense-first mentality, which to me means playoff-type hockey. And we can see it here on all these clips. That the first thing they want to do is take care of the middle of the ice there. And they all swarm back to it. As soon as the Florida has an opportunity to score, sure enough, they all come back to the middle of the ice. They block shots. They deflect shots there. They're there for support. And it's making it very hard for Florida to get to the middle of the ice and to score and to actually even get a shot on goal because of it. And when they do finally break through, there's Aiden Hill with some great big saves.
Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final takes place Tuesday night in Las Vegas, 8 p.m. Eastern. Golden Knights will have a shot at their first championship in their 6th year of existence. From a potential first-time champion to 2 teams with a combined 36 championships. Yankees and Red Sox continue their rivalry in the Bronx. Middle game of a weekend series. Boston took the opener Friday night. New York responded on Saturday.
Pitch is lined to right field, and that ball is off the right. No, it's gone. It got over the top into the first row. Willie Calhoun hits one to the moon. My pal Cal homers to right, and the Yankees take a 2-1 lead.
On WFAN, and the Yankees go on to win it 3-1. And you heard on the call a little hesitation as to whether it was a homer. Calhoun's go-ahead homer traveled 362 feet. Would have only been a home run in Yankee Stadium. But after the game, Yankees manager Aaron Boone discussed the depth on his squad.
Yeah, Willie can hit. Bowers can hit. Billy hit his way onto this team down there and has taken advantage of the opportunity. And, some good plays out there right out of Jump Street by McKinney, running one down in the gap, and then Bowers makes the play on Devers. So, we talk about it starting in spring training. It's going to take everyone. It's going to take more than you even think, and we need to be ready for that. And to their credit, they've come up and done a really nice job for us in helping us win games. Ultimately, that's what it's about.
Well, tune in to an AL East rivalry tonight. The Yankees, they host the Red Sox. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, and at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Sports Center all night. Chris Lewis here on ESPN Radio. The Denver Nuggets, one win away from their first ever NBA title. Game 4 Friday highlighted the depth that Calvin Booth and the front office have built, and Coach Michael Malone has helped foster. Now, when you think of Denver, the Jokic-Murray pair, that's what usually comes to mind. But in Game 4, the dynamic duo, Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown. They each scored at least 20 points on 70% shooting. It's the 5th time in finals history teammates have scored at least 20 on 70% in a game. But a lot of that production was facilitated by Murray and his 12 assists. He talked about being one win away from immortality.
We're just ready to win a championship. We have the tools to do it. It's been on our minds for a while, so we're just locked in. I don't think you got to overthink it. We're just dialed in, ready to win.
Jamal Murray made NBA history on Friday, finishing with 15 points and 12 assists. It was Murray's 4th straight game with 10 dimes, becoming the first player ever to have at least 10 assists in his first 4 career finals games. Another line like that could conjure a celebration in Denver. Coach Michael Malone on his message going in.
Just understand that we haven't done anything. You know, I told our guys, the first thing I said, we're not celebrating. It's a good win. We've done our job, but we're not celebrating like we've done anything yet. We know we're going to have to go home and turn off the TV, the radio. Don't read the papers. Don't listen to everybody telling you how great you are, because we haven't done a damn thing yet. We have to win another game to be world champions.
On the flip side, the Heat are going back to altitude, but perhaps getting away from Miami could do them some good. Game 4's loss was their 4th straight home playoff loss, longest in franchise history. Coach Eric Spoelstra on their mentality, down 3-1.
Everybody's already talking about it. Like, I've been in those games, Game 5. Those are not the easiest games. You know, at home, all we're focused on. I told the guys, feel whatever you want to feel tonight. That's fine. You probably shouldn't sleep anything tonight, you know, any amount of time. I don't think anybody will. You know, we have an incredibly competitive group. We've done everything the hard way, and that's the way it's going to have to be done right now again. And all we're going to focus on is getting this thing back to the 305. Get this thing back to Miami. And things can shift very quickly. It's going to be a gnarly game in Denver that's built for the competitors that we have in our locker room. And by the time we get on that plane, all we're thinking about is get this thing back to Miami.
Well, the Heat trail 3-1 in a best-of-7 series for the 7th time in franchise history. They are 1-5 in their previous 6, including losing each of their last 5. Well, as long as there is a sliver of hope, we've learned Jimmy Butler is going to fight.
No doubt. We don't have any of that. We don't have no quit. We're going to continually fight, starting tomorrow, to get better. And then we're going to go on to Monday and do what we said we were going to do this entire time and win. We have to. We have no other choice. Otherwise, we did all this for no reason. So the guys know, we know. We got something to do.
Game 5 from Denver is Monday night. ESPN Radio's coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Tip-off 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Ryan Edwards of KOA Sports in Denver joined Game Night on ESPN Radio to explain what the feel is like right now in the city.
The city is electric, as you can imagine. You know, we just a year ago celebrated the Avalanche getting their championship, and it was kind of this, okay, well, hey, the Nuggets, if things start to break their way, maybe they could be in the conversation. But it was all about Jamal Murray, right? We had to see how healthy he was going to be. We knew he had chemistry with Nikola Jokic, but they've taken that to a completely new level here in the playoffs. But yeah, man, I mean, you've been in this area, Aaron. I mean, it's an unbelievable city when the sports teams are doing really well. Usually it's a Broncos town, but I'll say this, man, when the local teams are doing well, people are fired up, and Nuggets fans who've been waiting for this, as you mentioned, for 47 years, quite a few of them have come out of the woodwork to celebrate it.
Coming up next, a couple of unique titles were won on Saturday. This is Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, a lot of NFL players got paid big bucks this offseason. I'll tell you which ones are poised for a disappointing season. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPN.
This is Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio.
MLB fans, when you need tickets to catch your favorite team live all season long, Ticketmaster's got them. As the world's largest ticket marketplace, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats available and at competitive prices, so you never have to worry about missing a game. Take yourself out to the ballpark this season and get tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/MLB. That's Ticketmaster.com/MLB.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
Finally, baseball is back. Swing into the season with tickets to the action. Plus, with basketball and hockey heating up, now is a great time to experience a game. Vivid Seats is proud to be the official ticketing partner of ESPN. From on the glass to in the stands, Vivid Seats has great ticket prices to all the games. Every crack of the bat, every dribble down the court. Catch it all with Vivid Seats. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Experience it live. Did you know YouTube TV is more than cable for less than cable? That's right. YouTube TV has no long-term contracts or hidden fees, and it even lets you catch up to the live game with key plays. With the lineup of over 100 channels, you can watch live TV like cable. Signing up is simple. Get started in minutes, and you can watch all the action of the NBA Finals live on ABC. So what are you waiting for? Try it free today at youtube.com/NBA23. New users only. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
The classic Kentucky Fried Chicken Sandwich. Crispy chicken, 100% white meat with crunchy pickles and mayo. It might just be the best KFC chicken sandwich.
Oh, don't forget KFC Spicy Chicken Sandwich. It brings the heat.
Also very good.
Topped with a kick of spicy mayo. It might just be the best.
One of the best.
Okay, one of the best KFC chicken sandwiches out there.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Choose your flavor with KFC's Chicken Sandwich in classic
or spicy.
That's finger licking good. Price of participation may vary.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
Grand slam on the first pitch to Giancarlo Stanton.
One of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports begins another chapter. The Boston Red Sox head to the Bronx and go head-to-head with the New York Yankees.
Shepard to right center field. Back. Go!
The Boston Red Sox at the New York Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen and watch on the ESPN app.
The WNBA is off to a record-setting start. This season's about super team expectations.
Welcome to New York.
Epic homecomings.
Welcome home, Brittany Griner.
And a shiny new rookie class.
Miller, look at the speed. Going to the hoop. This is just the beginning.
The WNBA. We're all about it. Dallas at New York. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Presented by Google.
The NBA Finals continue on ESPN Radio.
Bruce Brown for three. It's good. What a night for Bruce Brown in Game 4.
The Nuggets return to Denver. One win from their first NBA championship. Can the Heat survive a must-win Game 5? The Finals. Game 5 of the Nuggets and Heat. Presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80. This is Sports Center All Night. Here's Chris Lewis.
SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app is presented by Progressive Insurance. Manchester City won the Champions League title for the first time in its history by beating Inter Milan 1-0. Rodri scored in the 68th minute to see the Premier League champions and the FA Cup winners complete a trifecta of trophies this season. Speaking of trophies, Iga Swiatek outlasts Karolina Muchova to win the third French Open to her name. The number one ranked Swiatek built a big lead, then overcame a second set setback, and then a third set deficit to beat Muchova 6-2, 5-7, 6-4. 22-year-old out of Poland won the French Open now twice in a row, along with her 2020 title there, and her win at the U.S. Open last September. That makes Swiatek the youngest woman with 4 Grand Slam trophies since Serena Williams at age 20. The champion afterward.
I don't know, like at first I was surprised because I saw all these matches of Carolina when she was actually, coming back from a score like that. And before the match point, I wasn't really thinking that it's going to happen now, I just played and I just gave it all. But I was like a little bit surprised that it actually happened, She was always, coming back. So I felt like, I don't know what I felt. It's hard to describe, but a lot of happiness. And I felt suddenly, tired of these 3 weeks. Maybe my matches weren't like physically exhausting, but it's pretty hard to kind of keep your focus for this even like almost 3 weeks. And also the whole swing, because since Stuttgart, I haven't been home. So I'm happy that I finished the whole clay court swing so well, and that I kind of survived, and I guess I'm never going to kind of doubt my strength again, maybe, because of that.
Swiatek is only the third woman in the professional era to start 4-0 in major finals, joining Monica Seles and Naomi Osaka. SportsCenter all night. Chris Lewis here on ESPN Radio. Pitching performance of the day belonged to the Cubs' Kyle Hendricks. Yeah, the Giants off balance all game.
There's a little bouncer to the third base side of the mound. Hendricks has it, throws him out. A 1-2-3 inning. 7 innings in the book. The Giants do not have any base hits.
Kyle Hendricks took that no-hitter into the 8th inning. 1 out away from getting out of the frame, setting up the first no-hit bid to reach the 9th inning this season. But instead, Mitch Haniger had other plans.
The 3-2 fly ball, deep left center, trouble all the way back, and that ball is off the wall. Haniger is going to have a double, and the Giants have their first hit of the day.
Calls on the Cubs radio network, so the Giants do break up the no-hitter in the 8th inning. Hendricks gets out of that, goes 8 innings, allows just that 1 hit, no runs, only 3 strikeouts as the Cubs get the win over the Giants by a score of 4-0. Hendricks, 7 2/3, no-hit bid. That is the longest by any pitcher this season. He threw 94 pitches. None of them reached 90 miles per hour. His fastest was an 89.4 mile per hour four-seam fastball. 2 of the best teams in the American League going head-to-head, Rangers and Rays. Rangers doubled them up.
Swinging that ball is ripped down the left field line. A base hit in there for extra bases. 2 hops, and it bounces over the short wall in the left field corner, which might be a break for the Rays. Simeon and Seager score. Garcia picks up a 2-run double. He stops at second, and the Rangers' lead has grown to 8-4.
And that was the final of 105-3 The Fan. You heard Corey Seager scoring a run for Texas. Went 5 for 5 in the game. First career 5-hit game. Also had a homer and 4 RBIs, which matches a season high. For the Rays, their 7-game winning streak, which was the longest active in Major League Baseball, comes to a close. Speaking of streaks ending, Mets on a losing streak that came to a close.
3-2. Swing and a high fly ball, deep left field. Reynolds going back to the track at the wall. He leaps, and it is out of here. Francisco Alvarez, insurance.
On WCBS, Mets 5, Pirates 1. That insurance enough to close the deal as Alvarez hits his 12th homer this season. Speaking of the NL East and continuing with streaks, Braves have a good one going, continued it against the Nationals.
3-2. And a high fly ball to right center, back to the wall, out of here! On a line, a lightning bolt to right center. And Acuna wins the battle versus Gore, the second 2-run homer of the inning. And the Braves have a big lead now here in the second inning thanks to a couple of 2-run homers. It's 5-1.
680 The Fan, Braves take the victory over the Nationals 6-4. And with the Braves win, they now have the longest active streak in Major League Baseball with their 7 in a row. Continuing the theme of streaks, how about Houston?
The 2-2. And Abreu clubs this one toward left center field. Kwan on the run, still going back, and that ball is gone. Over the 19-foot high wall in left center, Jose Abreu homers for a second straight day. This one a 2-run shot. 3-0 Astros.
KB and me, 790 AM. Astros get the win over the Guardians 6-4, and I mentioned streaks. That victory ends what was a 4-game losing streak for the Astros, their longest losing streak in the last 2 seasons. Coming up next, a record-setting road win in the Stanley Cup Final.
Greeny. The fact that one of the central pieces feels so much bitterness toward him, it is tragic to me. It makes me feel terribly sad for him.
I'm Zoe. I own Muck and Brass, which is an upcycling homewares business, and this is why I switched to Shopify. One of my biggest challenges was the lack of support when I really needed it, and it would always slow down the momentum of my business. With Shopify, I could get hold of a real person quickly, and not only would they solve a problem I had, they'd also give me the tools to feel empowered moving forward. I felt like I didn't even know who my customers were. Thanks to Shopify analytic tools, I feel more confident with the products I'm creating, and the sales are actually reflecting that. With Shopify's theme editor, I can easily share elements of who I am in my shop and have full control of how my brand is represented. I spent nearly 7 years on other platforms, and I'm kicking myself for not making the switch earlier. Not only do I know my customers better, but they know me better as well. Start your new journey today on Shopify.
Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Go to shopify.com/play to take your business to the next level today.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
The fact that you think that all mac and cheese is the same because it's cheese.
No, I never said
conversation
that.
was around?
Never said that.
You essentially said that, Max. Because you said,
never. I'm not arguing some mac and cheese is way better than others. I'm saying the worst mac and cheese is a soggy noodle with cheese on it. I'll still tear that up.
I'm not eating that.
All right, so that's you.
You're saying if you're hungry, and you saw a horrible piece of mac and cheese, and you know it's not going to be good, you'll still eat it.
Because not good is relative. Not as good mac and cheese, obviously. Do you think noodles taste good by themselves, yes or no? Because I think, they're pretty good. They're not the best thing ever. They're pretty good. Do I think melted cheese is good? Yes, I do. You put them together, even if it's all jacked
That's
up
not
compared
mac
to
and
official
cheese,
mac
though.
and cheese, I'll still eat it.
But that's not mac and cheese, man. That's some Velveeta slices put into a damn oven. Nobody's eating that.
GJ and Max, followed by Greeny. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
I don't know if you've ever walked into a basketball arena with Stephen A. Smith. It is much like what it must have been like to walk anywhere with Elvis. It's insane. For the majority of the time that I've been with him, we walk in and people will just yell Cowboys stuff at him. So can I tell you that this past week, we're in LA, and I walk into the arena with Stephen A., and both nights, people are yelling Aaron Rodgers stuff at me. Have I been talking about Rodgers that much? Is this something that I've been doing to the point that it has become like that? Like, has Rodgers become to me what Stephen A. and the Cowboys have become? Is it that, Bubba?
Yeah, I think you maybe just crossed that line just ever so slightly.
Cam?
We did it for like 3 months straight, but other than that, I can't recall.
I have to admit, I thought I covered it the appropriate amount.
Lies, and more lies.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app. ESPN's College Game Day, the podcast.
College football being so wed to tradition has held it back, and the bowl system to me epitomize that. Now look, I'm a bowl guy. I watch bowls. I'm just like pro-smart business for college athletics as it's pushing forward. When these dudes make the playoff, they don't care that there's some guy in a yellow jacket greeting them at the bus. Like, this is a cold-blooded billion-dollar business.
Listen to the College Game Day podcast with Reese Davis and Pete Thamel, wherever you listen to podcasts. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I speak receiver. No, he's not excited to be a Raider right now. They cut his guy. His guy goes to New Orleans. He gets the playbook. He's like, man, we getting ready to dink and dunk. We got Jimmy Damn Garoppolo.
TJ and Max.
Rodney in Massachusetts.
Jay, I don't know what it is with you, man. I love you, then I hate you, then I love you, then I hate you again, bro.
Spike Lee, ladies and gentlemen.
Keyshawn, I love you.
Are you insane? TJ and Max. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is SportsCenter All Night. Here's Chris Lewis.
SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter All Night.
Manchester City wins the Champions League title for the first time in its history. Dodgers end skid with demolition of the Phillies. Golden Knights hold on for Game 4 victory over the Florida Panthers.
Vegas sends it back in. Barbashev collides with Gudis far corner. Marchessault in as well. To the middle. It's Hay. A wrist shot. Blocked. Rebound. Score! William Karlsson. 3-0 Golden Knights.
That call on Fox Sports 98.9, and the Golden Knights get the win 3-2. That Karlsson's goal ends up being the game winner. Teams up 3-1 in a best-of-7 Stanley Cup final as the Golden Knights have gone on to win 36 of the prior 37 series. The only team to overcome that 3-1 deficit, Maple Leafs back in 1942. Golden Knights, 35 straight wins when scoring 3 or more goals, third longest streak in Stanley Cup playoff history. They continue the roll. For Vegas, it's a 9-game point streak for Jonathan Marchessault. That extends his single postseason franchise record and the longest by any player this postseason. He chatted with Darren Bang of TNT after the game.
Well, congratulations, a big game, an emotional game, and I guess there's some lessons learned about those guys on the other side as well, that they don't go away very easily.
Yeah, they have a lot of resiliency, and honestly, they've done it all along the playoffs, and you got to give them credit. But I mean, our team, we worked hard to get that lead, and we're able to keep it there.
Well, before the game and early in the first period, I asked Bruce Cassidy about starting your line. He said that you get on him a little bit, and did you get fired up too when he announces the starting lineup and you guys get out there?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. Normally, he always starts with where he's lying in. They do a really good job, but I mean, our team has so much depth, and it doesn't matter who starts. We just need to get the job done, and tonight, honestly, it was a full 60 minutes.
Donovan, I'm not sure if you saw it at the very, very end, but the save that your goaltender, Aiden Hill, made with his left pad on Matthew Tkachuk was, man, just an unbelievable save for the young man.
Yeah, I mean, he's been huge since he came in, and honestly, we wouldn't be here without him tonight. So it's all in his honor. I'm super happy for him, and he's such a great guy. You want to battle for a guy like that every night, and but I mean, closing a series, it's the hardest thing to do. Our best game is yet to come.
One more for you, and it's an important one. You're going back home. You have a chance to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup. How difficult is it going to be to put everything else out of your way and just play hockey?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. We gotta leave the noise out there and just focus. It's gonna be an effort that we need 20 guys, and we're gonna stay in the moment. And we've been telling ourselves that all playoffs so far, and we're gonna have to keep our emotion composed. And honestly, it's all in. It's going to work well for us if we do that.
Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final takes place Tuesday night in Las Vegas at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just like the Golden Knights, the Nuggets are one win away from their first NBA title in franchise history. The Heat will have to win Game 5 on the road to extend the series. The team that has surprised all postseason long is perhaps up against their biggest challenge. The 8th seed already pulled upsets over the 1 seed Bucks, 5th seeded Knicks, and 2nd seeded Celtics in the Eastern Conference. ESPN reporter Brian Windhorst theorizes that those miles might be piling up.
They have absolutely maxed this group. They took advantage of teams that didn't have their best stuff, didn't have some injuries, and they absolutely have maxed it. And look, if they had just gotten they only were 8 of, I think, 33 on threes. If they had hit a couple of shots in the fourth quarter, we very easily could be talking 2-2. It's not really that far away from them pulling it out, but their margin for error is non-existent against Denver. They are not playing a team like the Celtics who doesn't play tight. The Nuggets play tight. They come in here, win 2 games in here. I mean, come on, this is their first finals. They come in here and win 2 games, take care of business. How can you not be impressed with what the Nuggets are doing?
The teams that go up 3-1 in the NBA Finals, 35 of the previous 36 teams went on to win the title. 2016 Warriors, the only team that lost that 3-1 Finals lead. So the question for ESPN analyst Mark Jackson is if this series is over.
You can't carry out because they have tremendous fight, tremendous competitive spirit. They're coached by a future Hall of Famer, and they're not going to lay down and quit. Denver Nuggets has a responsibility to finish them off and not give this team any life.
That Cavs team that overcame the deficit, they were led by a pair of #1 overall picks in LeBron and Kyrie, as well as a lottery pick in Kevin Love. This Heat team is known for their players who were either drafted late or not drafted at all. A much different team profile for this year's Heat. On SportsCenter, ESPN analyst Tim Legler on what he thinks will happen in Game 5.
I think Denver's going to take care of business on Monday night. And the difference is I think their best player is a guy that just cannot be derailed in any way. You're not going to limit Nikola Jokic to the extent that he has an off night and it actually affects their team's ability to win because he does too many things in too many ways to beat you, whatever that answer has to be. And that's the differentiating factor between the two teams. So I think they end it on Monday night. And this has just been an incredibly impressive run by this team. And they look so confident right now. They look pretty certain of themselves.
The Nuggets are 9.5-point favorites in Game 5. If Denver is able to take care of business at home, they will become the team that has played in the most playoff series ever before their first title, 44 of them to be exact. And according to ESPN reporter Tim Bontemps on Fitz and Harry, it might not be that many until they're next.
I mean, you look at the Western Conference right now, right? I mean, the Phoenix Suns, obviously we all talked about Chris Paul the last couple of days. It's not like Phoenix has obvious ways to improve this team to get better. The Lakers, similar situation, right? LeBron and AD are old. They don't have a ton of supporting cast around them right now. They have limited ways to improve that this summer. We just saw Denver sweep them out of the playoffs. Obviously, there's a pretty big gap between those teams. We'll see what happens with Memphis. We'll see what happens with Golden State. But it's not like there's another team that's in the West that's looking like it's going to rise up and be a true threat to Denver going forward, or that you wouldn't go into next season thinking, all right, for this year and the next couple, Denver's the team to beat in the West.
Well, if that window is that big for the Nuggets, what does it mean for Jokic? Ryan Edwards of KOA Sports in Denver joined Game Night.
You always feel like you're a little too early on it, right? You don't want to be hyperbolic. But, man, 2 MVPs, probably had an argument even for this year with another MVP, though I think the voters had gotten a little bit tired of voting for him, and they wanted to go with Joel Embiid. He had a great year, too. Don't get me wrong. But, again, he even put up better stats this season than he did last 2 seasons, and he was the #1 seed in the West. I don't know. A championship, 2 MVPs, you're in that conversation. He's already, I think, arguably the greatest Nugget of all time. And if that is the case, if you're the greatest Nugget of all time, don't you deserve to be kind of on that Mount Rushmore? I don't think he needs very much. Really at all. And the beautiful thing about this is he's still got a lot of years to sort of prove all those kinds of things. But, you said it. You were in this area, man. John Elway, Joe Sakic is in that conversation. But, again, if you're the greatest Nugget of all time, you absolutely deserve to be there, too.
Game 5 from Denver is Monday night. ESPN Radio's coverage begins 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Tip-off 8:30 Eastern on ABC, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. This is SportsCenter All Night. My name is Chris Lewis. The Phillies entered Saturday, one of the hottest teams in baseball. They were winners of 6 straight. Last 2 games, they won on walk-off fashion. On ESPN Radio, they put that streak to the test against the Dodgers, but it was a much-needed breakout performance for Los Angeles.
Now Hoffman ready, he fires, and this is a long drive left field. Forget about it. It is going, and long gone for J.D. Martinez, a 3-run homer. Number 16 for J.D. makes it 9-0 Los Angeles. The rout is on here in the 7th.
That was the final score, 9-0. Dodgers top the Phillies. Bobby Miller, excellent for the Dodgers on the mound. Dave Jagler and Ruben Amaro Jr., they had the call on ESPN Radio. They broke it down on Postgame Extra.
Thank you, Chris. Game 2 of a 3-game series for the Dodgers and the Phillies, set up as an interesting pitching matchup between Aaron Nola and Bobby Miller. And Ruben Amaro, Aaron Nola got off to a very good start. The Dodgers got to him in the 3rd inning. Clutch hit for Mookie Betts. They chose to pitch to Freddie Freeman. So back-to-back RBI singles, a homer for David Peralta in the 3rd. And the Dodgers riding a good pitching performance from Bobby Miller, able to even the series.
Yeah, Aaron Nola was just sort of cruising along, pitching very well and efficiently, utilizing all of his pitches. And then, a 2-out double by Outman, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're on the board. And the Phillies had opportunities early in the game, just could not capitalize. And as you said, Bobby Miller was just outstanding. He really threw the ball well, had no fear at all going right after the hitters. The Phillies did put a little pressure on him from time to time, but he did not break, and he kept getting after it. Will Smith did a nice job with him behind the plate, and they came out and at the end of the game, they basically made a blowout late.
A couple of pivot points. We'll talk about the 2nd inning. The Phillies had 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Miller struck out Brandon Marsh, then walked Cody Clemens to load the bases. He was in an 8-pitch battle with Edmundo Sosa, and at that point, when he got out of the inning, he was at 49 pitches, but he was able to lock it in from there. What did you see as far as a young pitcher in that 2nd inning spot that allowed him to get through?
He got a huge strikeout of Brandon Marsh in that situation as well, and then he ended up getting Sosa there at the end. The most impressive thing for me is the poise. Not only is he the physicality of the young man, but the poise that he exuded, because this is a guy that kept going after it. He was not afraid, did what he could to try to get them to make swings, and for him to kind of work his way out of that situation. Pretty impressive.
And then in the 7th inning, they scored 6 runs. Mookie Betts had another RBI hit. And then the bullpen came in. Jeff Hoffman struggled. J.D. Martinez had a 3-run homer to cap a 6-run inning. And that allowed the Dodgers to cruise to the 9-0 win. Los Angeles keeping pace with the Diamondbacks. They improved to 37-28. The Dodgers had dropped 5 of 6. They snapped the Phillies' 6-game winning streak. Philly missing the chance to get to 500. Then on a 31-33, 9 games back of first place Atlanta. The rubber game of the series on Sunday, Taijuan Walker for the Phillies, bullpen game for the Dodgers. So LA wins this one in a rout. They lead the season series 4-1 over Philadelphia. Again, the final score 9-0. For Ruben Amaro Jr., I'm Dave Jagler, right here on your home for Major League Baseball, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Let's go back to Chris Lewis in the studio.
Thanks so much, Dave. Great game there in Philly. These couple of weeks here in the NFL offseason, it's a key point with teams hosting their various versions of offseason minicamps. Quarterback storylines abound. These teams taking the field for these early practices. Perfect time for some QB rapid fire. And we start in New York. Headlines, Aaron Rodgers making his transition, but Coach Robert Saleh, he's impressed with number 2 QB, Zach Wilson, handling his role.
I feel like he's done a really nice job. I give him a ton of credit because it's hard to do what he's been asked to do. To be the 2nd overall pick, to have 2 years of playing a lot of football, to then being asked to take a back seat to allow another man to watch and learn from another man. So from a personal standpoint, it's very humbling to be in his shoes right now. But at the same time, the way he's attacked it, his demeanor, his personality, the attitude at which he's done it, he's been very positive through this whole thing. I really look at him and just his overall footwork and his demeanor and how relaxed he is at throwing the football. He's a lot more accurate. Obviously, he's learning a lot of new verbiage and being asked to do a heck of a lot more than he was asked in the past. Obviously, as a rookie, we're just putting more on his plate. I think he's handling it very, very well. I'm very excited to see him continue to get better.
From a young QB who struggled to a young QB looking to avoid those errors, number 1 pick Bryce Young already taking reps as a number 1 QB on the Panthers depth chart, according to Coach Frank Reich. Young discussed the promotion.
Coach was kind of just updating me on, what was going to happen just, for the continuity of practice the following week. And, again, I trust the coaching staff here. Coach Reich, everyone here has been great to work with. It's been amazing playing for them. So, really it was just to make sure that, for things to go smoothly and everything. And, again, for me, I just show up to work. I trust the coaches. And, the approach has been the same, just trying to do everything I can.
The second QB taken in the draft was C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. The Texans scooped him up with a second pick. Harry Douglas of ESPN Radio likes both QBs atop the 2023 class.
The Houston Texans are putting together a sneaky good team that I don't think a lot of people are actually paying attention to. Their nucleus of skill position players are young, and these guys will be able to build together. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs this year? No, I do not, because the AFC is a gauntlet, but I think they have an opportunity to build. In about 2 years, this will be a team that a lot of people are talking about.
And that wraps up this edition of QB Rapid Fire. Coming up next, a post-game interview you have to hear to believe. This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, I'm going to tell you why it's time for the Lakers to stop playing around and make sure they end up with one of these point guards. Monday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
ESPN Radio SportsCenter All Night. More next.
Have you seen the cost of eggs lately? With these prices, we'd barely be scraping by if it weren't for Dave. It's the banking app that advances us up to $500 instantly. There's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. No joke. You can get extra cash for anything your family needs. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
Finally, baseball is back. Swing into the season with tickets to the action. Plus, with basketball and hockey heating up, now is a great time to experience a game. Vivid Seats is proud to be the official ticketing partner of ESPN. From on the glass to in the stands, Vivid Seats has great ticket prices to all the games. Every crack of the bat, every dribble down the court. Catch it all with Vivid Seats. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Experience it live. MLB fans, when you need tickets to catch your favorite team live all season long, Ticketmaster's got them. As the world's largest ticket marketplace, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats available and at competitive prices, so you never have to worry about missing a game. Take yourself out to the ballpark this season and get tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/MLB. That's Ticketmaster.com/MLB.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Susan has always wanted to live in a chateau. I like a certain je ne sais quoi. While Jake is more into the Cape Cod style home.
It's a classic look.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Susan and Jake found a Cape Cod style home where they will only speak French.
Bonjour, je t'aime, merci beaucoup, and cordon bleu.
You'll get better with time. Bundling without compromise at Geico.com.
Did you know YouTube TV is more than cable for less than cable? That's right. YouTube TV has no long-term contracts or hidden fees, and it even lets you catch up to the live game with key plays. With the lineup of over 100 channels, you can watch live TV like cable. Signing up is simple. Get started in minutes, and you can watch all the action of the NBA Finals live on ABC. So what are you waiting for? Try it free today at youtube.com/NBA23. New users only. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
You've never had anything like Kentucky Fried Chicken's new chicken nuggets. They're so good, you'll hear a random choir singing every time you open the box. Don't believe me? Just listen. Box open. KFC, chicken nuggets, KFC. Box close. Open. Original recipe and rabbit, KFC. Close. Can we get a remix? Order KFC's new chicken nuggets on the KFC app today. That's finger looking good. Prices and participation may vary.
Coming up Monday on Canty and Carlin, the Nuggets take a commanding 3-1 lead in the finals. As the series shifts back to Denver, can Jimmy Buckets save the Heat season? That's Monday, Canty and Carlin, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Sports Center all night. Here's Chris Lewis.
Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. Belmont Stakes took place Saturday. Here's the final call.
Tampa tries on the outside. Angel of Empire is fully extended. Hit show comes off the inside. National Treasure is determined on the outside. Arcangelo is fiercely determined. Arcangelo coming to the 8th ball, trying to pull it off. He's in front by 3. He has Jennison, National Treasure. Then it's Hit Show. Forte's coming right. Oh, he's got a chance. Forte coming out the outside. Arcangelo. He couldn't do it. Arcangelo has won and getting ready to turn for home. Who have won the 155th Belmont Stakes.
On the Horse Racing Radio Network, Arcangelo wins the Belmont Stakes. Jenna Antonucci becomes the first woman trainer to win. Day 2 of the Super Regionals of the college baseball tournament. Day 1 loaded with close games. Day 2 delivered as well. Oregon overcame an 8-0 hole to beat Oral Roberts in Game 1. Game 2, Oral Roberts completed a comeback.
One strike pitch. Line the other way toward the line. Fair ball. And Oral Roberts has come back to win it.
On ESPNU, you heard it, the Cinderella from the Summit League, Oral Roberts, keeps their season alive. The deciding Game 3 for a spot at Omaha, the College World Series, takes place Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Elsewhere, a Game 2 between Virginia and Duke. Blue Devils took the opener Friday. Virginia's offense led to the Game 2 win, which leads to a winner-take-all Game 3 Sunday. But it was pitcher Steven Scotch who stole the show with his interview with John Sheriffin and Lance Cormier after the game.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it, which the price of Dippin' Dots with inflation is just unreal. So for a brief moment, I was like, damn, Dippin' Dots sound good. But also I thought in the back of my head, we win today, we win tomorrow, or tonight. We're going to be here another day. That's more per diem. So that means I can buy my own Dippin' Dots and be a winner. So it's like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to attack. I think 3 words every time I'm out there. The first one's a swear word, starts with F. Second word's attack, third one's win. And I just repeat that to myself. Unless, there's a breach in the system and I walk a guy and I got to tell myself I'm a few different things that isn't a winner. I might break that, but then I get right back on it, just this attack, win,
That was only part of the legendary interview with Steven Scotch, who became an instant college baseball legend. Teams trying to earn legend status, earn spots in Omaha for the College World Series are TCU and Florida. Here's Steve Lennox with today's Top Sounds.
Number 4.
All right, Chris, we start with baseball. Mr. Correa, Carlos Correa, going deep with the bases full in Toronto. Correa helping the Twins to the win. The call from the Treasure Island Baseball Network.
The balls and 1 strike on Correa, and the pitch, a swing and a drive into left field deep. Merrifield going back at the track, at the wall, it's gone! Correa with a grand slam to left. And with 1 swing of the bat, the Twins have the lead. It's 5-3 in the 8th inning.
Number 3.
Red Sox and Yankees in the Bronx. Jake Bauers showing he can go get it with this gem. The call, WFAN Radio.
And the pitch is swung on and hit in the air to left field. Bauers going toward the line near the wall, jumps and made the catch right at the top of the wall. I don't think it would have been a home run, but it would have been a double and would have scored the run. Another terrific play by Jake Bauers, a first baseman playing the outfield. His glove went up right near the top of the wall. Number 2.
And sticking with the D, Orioles Anthony Santander with the grab. The call, WBAL Radio in Baltimore.
Hit in the air, right field. Back goes Santander on the warning track. He jumps up. Can he make the catch? Are you kidding me? Santander hauled it in. He leapt up at the groundskeeper's shed and made the catch. A stunning play from Anthony Santander.
Number 1.
College baseball super regional in Eugene, and the Ducks walking off on Friday night in game 1. Justin Quinn delivering the game winner. Oral Roberts walking off in game 2. And with that, a game 3, a decisive game 3 on Sunday. The call of the walk-off for Oral Roberts on ESPN UTV.
The one-strike pitch. Line the other way toward the line. Fair ball. And Oral Roberts has come back to win.
Will Roberts getting a lot of love. South. Great job, Athletics on Saturday. After one of Amanda Nunez's most dominant performances in years, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time announced her retirement at UFC 289 on Saturday in Vancouver. Nunez beat Irene Aldana, a unanimous decision. So with the win, Nunez defended her UFC women's bantamweight title. She's also the UFC women's featherweight champion. So apparently she will vacate both belts in retirement. So congratulations to Amanda Nunez, who put on a lot of shows over the years. That does it for this edition of SportsCenter All Night. Thank yous to hand out to producer Javon Cutler, technical director Jacob Volk. My name is Chris Lewis. Keep it locked. Best week ever is next. This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, CP3. I'll tell you where they all go and what their best landing spots are. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
You can't miss Canty and Carlin, pound for pound, the biggest show on ESPN Radio.
If I'm Suns owner Matt Ishbia and I just paid $4 billion for the team, and we're talking about the luxury tax that I'm facing going into 2023, 2024, ain't no way in hell I'm paying that kind of money, knowing how big a gap there is between where my team is and the Denver Nuggets. So we slashing salaries, we slashing payroll. Chris Paul, Sr., we're going to use the waive stretch provision. And guess what? DeAndre Ayton, we didn't want to give you that contract in the first place. I damn sure don't want to give it to you now that I got KD and Devin Booker. So adios, see you. We'll fill in the rest of the players around KD and Devin Booker. And so from that standpoint, we're absolutely talking about Chris Paul going somewhere else and playing this summer.
Lakers can't get Chris Paul. That would be a mistake. Let me ask you this question, though, as a Laker fan. Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving. What do you want?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know.
Want a jar of fluff is what you want.
I don't know if I'm going to get either guy in the postseason.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
When Shopify says you can sell anywhere, oh, they mean it. Woo, hold up. Just got a new sale, order fulfilled and shipped. Inventory level's good. Whoa, Shopify doesn't mind if you're at sea level or on top of the world. You can run and grow your business anywhere. Climbing mountains is never easy, but at least Shopify gives me all the tools I need for my business to hit new peaks.
Whether you're selling carabiners or crop tops, start selling with Shopify today and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of businesses worldwide. We've built the platform so you can keep climbing and grow your business to new heights.
With Shopify, you really can sell to anyone from anywhere.
This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Start selling online today. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/play. 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 Internet connection required. Not available on mountaintops or seafloors.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Some of the biggest names in golf with the PGA Tour who have been loudly defending the PGA Tour weren't even consulted in the process. I cannot believe that the PGA Tour wouldn't be talking to their biggest names and saying, hey, we want to make sure you guys understand what's happening, why it's going down, and what the thought process is. Instead, it feels like everybody right now feels like they got stabbed in the back.
Fitz and Harry, weekdays at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Tiki Barber says Daniel Jones is definitely top 10 at quarterback. If you really just look at it, there's probably 7 guys that you say, no, he's not close to them. But then you start looking at the rest of the field. I'm not ready to say no.
Key, J, and Max, followed by Greeny. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Welcome to SB Pod with Stanford Steve. I'm Scott Van Pelt. You know what's interesting is I have a thread with all my idiot friends. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have many. Our listeners have many. And our idiot friends traffic in a lot of just nonsense, things that aren't actually real. They'll say non sequiturs, not meant to be taken seriously. I'm sitting there eating breakfast this morning, and somebody says, "Live and PGA Tour merged," which just I presume to be just a trial balloon, because I mean obviously it didn't happen. And then you get on the old bird and you see a tweet or two, and you're thinking, it's not the Onion, but it certainly feels like one of those, like a fake Woj, fake Schefter, fake Rappaport, fake, guys that traffic in the news breaking space. It just felt fake. It wasn't fake. And I realized that having been in that golf world the entire time I've done this, that you're way more immersed in it, just in terms of the layers of people that you can kind of reach out to, that are all looking to you like, hey, what do you think? Like, me? You're the major champion here, buddy. What do you think? What an interesting day. Obviously, we're talking about the fact that the PGA Tour, LIV, DP World Tour, that's European Tour, it's all under an umbrella. And just given the rhetoric and the fact, I mean, just in simplest terms, Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, like, forbid these guys from taking the money, banned them from being on the PGA Tour if they took it, and then took the money.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. Game 4 Stanley Cup Finals. The Vegas Golden Knights looking to move closer to that golden moment of hosting the Cup. But before you get that fourth win, you got to get number 3. And going up 3 is a good start against the Panthers.
Vegas sends it back in. Barbashev collides with Gudis far corner. Marchessault in as well. To the middle. It's Hay. A wrist shot. Blocked. Rebound. Score! William Karlsson. 3-0 Golden Knights.
All the fun on Fox Sports 98.9 in Vegas. Game 5 Stanley Cup Final set for Tuesday night in Las Vegas. Cup in the building with the Golden Knights up in the series 3-1. Major League Baseball Saturday. The Phillies' 6-game winning streak comes to a crashing halt thanks to the Dodgers.
Now Hoffman ready. He fires. And it's a long drive left field. Forget about it. It is going, and long gone for J.D. Martinez, a 3-run homer. Number 16 for J.D. makes it 9-0 Los Angeles. The rout is on here in the 7th.
The Dodgers win it 9-0 to call on ESPN Radio. And speaking of ESPN Radio, our Sunday night baseball game. Arch rivals collide. The Red Sox and Yankees meeting up in the Bronx, 6 p.m. Eastern, for the coverage to begin here on ESPN Radio with the first pitch on radio and ESPN at 7 Eastern. Other games Saturday, Atlanta over Washington 6-4. That's the Braves' 7th straight win. Mets beat the Pirates 5-1. That snaps the Mets' 7-game losing streak. Coming up next here on ESPN Radio, the best week ever.
Coming up Monday, I'm going to tell you why it's time for the Lakers to stop playing around and make sure they end up with one of these point guards. Monday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
This is the best week ever with Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Indeed it is. Happy Sunday morning to you all. Best week ever on ESPN Radio. Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin rolling here on ESPN Radio, presented by our friends over at Progressive Insurance. We got, it's like a potpourri, a smorgasbord, a cornucopia of things, right? A little sports radio buffet this morning. We got a little hockey. We got a little NBA. We got UFC retirements. We've got the Belmont Stakes. We got LIV and PGA golf. We've got mascots getting punched out. We have the anniversary of the flu game. Did I miss anything here, Courtney?
I think you've got everything in short order. Messi going to Inter Miami, like leaving PSG. It's been a pretty big week for a lot of different sports.
I was going to say it's bad things for Miami as you see what's happening with the Heat and of course the Panthers last night. But then you get Messi and you're also probably going to get Dalvin Cook. So we'll dive into all of that over the next 3 hours or so. As always, you can hit us up on Twitter at Courtney R. Cronin or myself at Peter Burns ESPN. Let's get right into it with the biggest story of the week ever.
The biggest story of the week ever.
I do love South Florida, I swear. I absolutely love it. So I don't feel like I'm piling on at any point because if you ever had a chance to go down there, you will enjoy your time, especially if you're part of the Golden Knights, right? Because they're going to be 1 game away now from winning it all. Chandler Stevenson, nice for him to show up, and he did it early and often in this one.
Stone slowing Bennett's breakout attempt to the far side. Stahl is checked in the neutral zone. Puck comes back to the Vegas end. Hay rips it forward. Tip puck gathered by Stevenson. Backhands it forward. Swatted into the zone. Down the left wall by Stone. He breaks left circle. Looks to the middle of the shot. Stevenson scores.
So Stevenson had the first 2 goals here, and Golden Knights tried to the Florida Panthers tried to get back, and they almost had the equalizer, get it to 3-2. But here's how it ended in a little fisticuffs afterwards.
Centering pass kicked away by Carlson. 5 seconds to the right. A shot blocked by McNabb. Rebound is loose. Pushed to the corner, and time runs out. The game is over. The Knights survive. Now a big pile in front of the goal. Hill jumps in as well. His helmet is off. Several players tackling each other. The linesman now restrained Hill. Several things are being thrown onto the ice as we speak. The Knights have won game 4, barely surviving. There was a scrum in the crease in the final seconds. Pietrangelo coming onto the ice to join his team to celebrate is then met by multiple Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk going after him.
The Florida fans are throwing stuff on the ice. They're throwing it at their own players. They're throwing rats on their own players at this juncture.
They're throwing rats at their own players at this juncture. Courtney, when I first asked you about Stanley Cup Finals last night, you go, "Did you see the fight? Did you see the rats?"
That was the best part. I don't think they were real rats. I just want to put that out there. I was a little confused as to what he was referring to, but what a weird look at the end of the game. And Matthew Tkachuk, who we don't know if he's going to play in game 5. He only played about 16 minutes last night. He had a chance at the very end, the final seconds of that game, and Aiden Hill, the goalie from Vegas, saved the puck with his left shin guard. It was one of the best saves that he's had in this series, Peter, but Vegas is the better team. I think we've known that. Did they make it a series? Yeah, they didn't want to go down 3-0, but this thing's going out to Vegas. Florida now trailing 3-1, and this thing probably ends on Tuesday in Game 5, and guess what? The Stanley Cup's going to be in the building.
Incredible. Teams of 3-1 have won 36 of the last 37 Stanley Cups. The only team to ever come back is the 1942 Maple Leafs. Of course, all right, so the Panthers are down 3-1, so are the Miami Heat. Remember, you can tune into Game 5 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins 7:30 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
Here's Bruce Brown for 3. It's good. What a night for Bruce Brown. The Denver Nuggets have won 5 straight on the road.
Don't listen to everybody telling you how great you are, because we haven't done a damn thing yet. We have to win another game to be world champions.
Nuggets take that 3-1 lead, and it is, again, it's what we thought, Courtney. And I mean, again, sometimes you come into NBA Finals or any type of series and you feel a certain way. And I felt this way about the Denver Nuggets back whenever we saw really the ending of the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers series, because I thought, hey, listen, this sets up incredibly well for the Nuggets. You're going to get 2 teams that are aging. Whoever was going to win that one, the Nuggets get them on a little bit of kind of a short rest and really more talented. And that's kind of the same thing that happened. Miami Heat are a very fun team to watch, right? But once they got past the Celtics, you thought, all right, does this set up well for the Nuggets? And now you start looking at what Jamal Murray, I mean, as much as we talk about Jokic, what Murray has done in the last couple of games, I don't see it changing. And I've talked to people in Denver over the last couple of days. They are salivating, absolutely salivating for Monday night.
I'm going to be really worried about what happens to us after this thing wraps up on Monday, because it feels like the well is pretty dry, but we got to appreciate what we're seeing from Denver right now, how deep of a team they are when they only have to go 3 into their bench, and you've got Bruce Brown contributing 21 points in game 4. I look at what Aaron Gordon did. You sometimes forget her in the league. Like, Aaron Gordon was drafted by the Magic in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get to see this series, game 1 rather, and then game 4, what like the talent is. The talent was finally tapped into in Denver. I don't know if that was a Michael Malone thing or just the entire fit within this offense, but his explosion in the second quarter the other night, Nikola Jokic continues to be Nikola Jokic, and this thing goes 5. I think you were the one who originally said Nuggets in 5. I said Nuggets in 6. I think there was some wishful thinking, hoping I could extend this thing a little longer, but the Heat have pushed their talent as far as they can take it. I don't think there's any harm or any fault in that, but it's disappointing to watch nobody contribute outside of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Heat have been, right, all season long. But I go back into it, in when you look at what this 2023 version of the Nuggets are, they're the same version of the 1999 San Antonio Spurs. Legitimately a team looking for their first world title, a team that's finding an 8 seed in the NBA Finals, and a team that's led by a very stoic leader. Jokic is Duncan, right? A guy that's transcended the game in the way that he did it. Now, Duncan did it with his back against the basket, right? He did it a little bit different with the style of basketball that was being played in 1999. And Jokic is doing it with, I mean, again, it was like the first time I watched Caitlin Clark play for Iowa, where you're like, oh, okay, this is what it's about, right? A lot of the public now is finding it an opportunity to see that type basketball from Jokic, and it's fun as hell to watch. So I think this thing ends on Monday night. And I don't think this thing ends for the Denver Nuggets anytime soon. This is a force to be reckoned with. You look at all the other teams in the West right now, Courtney. Who's really going to give them a run going forward? Like, who do you feel? I don't think it's the Lakers. I think that they're past their prime. I don't think it's the Warriors. They're past their prime. Phoenix Suns, they're talking about making some moves as well, too. This is the start of a run for the Nuggets that I don't know if anybody's going to be able to put up with over the next 2 or 3 years.
No, I think there's going to be a considerable gap between the Nuggets and then the second and third best teams in the West. It should have been Memphis, but there's a lot of uncertainty around what that group's going to look like next season. The Lakers, maybe, if they can get Chris Paul or somebody else to help take off the load on LeBron James and split some of those playmaking opportunities with D'Angelo Russell, because we certainly know that has not been consistent enough to make that team what it needs to be. But you're right. There doesn't seem to be anybody clipping at Denver's heels. And we finally got to see it. Like, this was what the NBA Finals taught all of us, that if we weren't paying attention to Denver, we certainly now need to be, because the best player currently playing is 48 minutes away from winning an NBA title.
Yeah. And he ain't going anywhere, right? Can you imagine if we end up having the Nuggets and Bucks 1 year as a finals? I mean, I think collective media would absolutely melt down. But you know what? Embrace it, because it's the best basketball out there, and watch it and enjoy it. All right, the best golfers may not even be playing on the PGA Tour, but that could change. The merger that shocked the sporting world, and why they didn't even need to do it. I'll tell you why coming up next. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever on ESPN Radio.
I think Jimmy Butler failed the Miami Heat last night, and it's not all on Jimmy Butler, but it starts with the intensity that he brings on the court.
Jimmy is still so confident.
I haven't seen him play with passion not one game in this finals, and that's disturbing to say that's the leader.
This is the best week ever. This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
Grand slam on the first pitch to Giancarlo Stanton.
One of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports begins another chapter. The Boston Red Sox head to the Bronx and go head-to-head with the New York Yankees.
Devers to right center field. Back. Go!
The Boston Red Sox at the New York Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen and watch on the ESPN app. The NBA Finals continue on ESPN Radio.
Bruce Brown, 4-3, it's good. What a night for Bruce Brown in Game 4.
The Nuggets return to Denver. One win from their first NBA championship. Can the Heat survive a must-win Game 5? The finals, Game 5 of the Nuggets and Heat, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on Sirius XM Channel 80. The biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
Shane Battier, two-time NBA champion.
The all-time great discussion. I don't think you get into that conversation unless you win a championship.
Glenn Big Baby Davis won a championship with the Celtics.
When we need to succeed, Paul's going to be there. I just don't see that in Tatum yet. I think he needs to understand the times to turn it up and the times to sit back.
Jalen Johnson, Bears cornerback.
Really, there's nothing that he can't do. I think once he gets comfortable, I think he can be very dangerous, and you'll see a lot of that dominant quarterback play that you saw at Ohio State.
Alex English. Is that an insult to be told I'm the all-time underrated squad, Alex?
I feel the same. To not be named to the top 75 was a very big disappointment. To be the top scorer in a decade, bewildering to me. Why would that not be part of the criteria?
The biggest names in sports come here. And it all starts weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max and continues all day. This is ESPN Radio. The Baseball Tonight podcast.
But I also see, like, off in the distance on the horizon, this monumental battle for American League MVP.
The Baseball Tonight podcast is on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Considering an online pharmacy? Explore BeSafeRx to find useful information and resources to help you purchase medicines safely online. A safe online pharmacy requires a doctor's prescription, has an address in the United States, has a licensed pharmacist, and is licensed by a state pharmacy board. It's best to stay away from online pharmacies that don't meet these criteria. Discover more helpful tips and resources at BeSafeRx. Go to fda.gov/BeSafeRx.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
The big breaking news after over a year in court that now there's going to be a merger. The DP World Tour, Live Golf, PGA Tour, all coming together.
Live Golf on the PGA Tour were Auburn and Alabama. There were the Yankees and the Red Sox, and now they're strange bedfellows.
This merger, this marriage, it's great for the sport, the right thing to do.
There are a lot of people, players and members, upset about how this went down, that they were kept in the dark about it.
Best week ever on ESPN Radio. Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin, always presented by Progressive Insurance. And you heard Mark Schlabach talking about it. Live Golf, PGA Tour Golf. It's funny, Courtney, because you hear Schlabach talking about it, how it was the Yankees and Red Sox. I was like, I don't know if the Red Sox and Live Golf were necessarily hand in hand, but it talked about the rivals, and so much has been talked about it. And again, I know we're 5-6 days later down the road from the news actually breaking, but I wanted to talk about it here on Best Week Ever for the fact of the details continue to trickle out, because I think the reason why this news story finally broke the way it broke kind of all out of nowhere is because they were worried that some leaks were going to happen. I think in a perfect world, Live Golf and the South, or I wouldn't say Live Golf, the Saudis, the PIF that they have, the investment fund, and PGA Tour Golf would have taken more time to actually work out the details. But basically they're saying, we're going to work together, we're going to stop suing each other, and then we'll go figure out the details. But here's the thing. No matter what the details are, no matter what you think about Jay Monahan, no matter what you think about Rory McIlroy, no matter what you think about Brooks Koepka, all of these things, the game of golf got better, right? A lot of people are upset about this, and I understand it. But I feel like this is more of a media controversy than it is about the actual game of golf in which you enjoy. You're going to get to see the best players eventually compete against each other the way kind of golf should be.
Yeah, not just kept to the Masters or a couple majors here and there. You get everybody under one umbrella, and that should be good for golf fans to see the best of the best compete against each other and not have, a section of very good golfers siphoned off to live golf that, unless you are, a big fan of the CW network, you're probably not locked into these Saturday scrambles that they have over in the live golf world. What bothers me about this, when the story breaks on Tuesday last week, and we have all of the fallout. It's called a merger. Oh, wait, it's not actually a merger according to the PGA. And why is that? And maybe it's because they want to keep their tax exempt status. And we all know that live golf is the absolute antithesis of that. And then you got Greg Norman saying that live golf isn't going anywhere. And there's just so much conflicting information. I'm with you. I feel like they could have fleshed this whole thing out a lot better than they did before just like trying to force it through. But maybe they were worried about it leaking. Maybe they were worried about not being able to control the message. But now the message is just a convoluted mess. And we really don't know what this is actually going to look like. I find it funny, though, because all the antitrust lawsuits that had been filed in the past, now you have three entities with DP World Golf, the PGA Tour, and then Live Golf going into one giant circle. Is that not a monopoly? And won't that potentially get investigated?
This is the fascinating aspect of it. Is what if all of this happens and the Department of Justice comes out and says, yeah, you can't, we're not going to allow this to happen. Now, I can't help but think, and maybe I've watched way too many episodes of Succession, right? In the great HBO show that ended up a couple of weeks ago, that the fact that there wasn't some look into this and think, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if this happens, are we good here? Because there's no way, right? Jay Monahan is going to go down, who's the PGA Tour commissioner, that would go down this road if he felt like this thing could all of a sudden just get nixed. Like at some point, there had to be a grown-up in the room and saying, all right, if we're going to do this, if we're going to get in bed with this PIF and they're going to drop their lawsuit, we're going to drop their lawsuit. We got anybody over there that's giving us the green light and saying, that's fine, get it done? If not, holy hell, then I've got a complete different story, because if you've done this, and Jay Monahan knows, in fact, I want you to hear, how he kind of answered his own questions about, are people going to call him a hypocrite? Here's what Jay Monahan had to say about it.
I recognize everything that, that I've said in the past and in my prior positions. I recognize that people are going to call me a hypocrite. And anytime I've said anything, I said it with the information I had at that moment. And I said it based on someone that's trying to compete for the PGA Tour and our players. And so I accept those criticisms, but circumstances do change. And I think that, in looking at the big picture and looking at it this way, that's what got us to this point.
Jay Monahan is a hypocrite. There is zero doubt about it. Okay, it's going to be forever a bad look about he used the name of the families of 9/11 and talked about, you'll never have to apologize about being a PGA Tour member. And then he flips it. But here's the thing. I also at least believe he did the right thing in calling himself out. How often now in today's society do we have people that just bury their heels in the ground? And no matter what the topic is, whether it's LeBron versus Jordan, whether it's, PGA versus Live, whether it's right or left, and it's black or white, it doesn't matter. Like, to say that you made a mistake. Jay Monahan made a mistake. The question going forward, though, Courtney, is that will the PGA Tour look at Jay as the guy that helped broker this deal, which is going to make the PGA Tour better, which is going to make the game of golf better? Will the players themselves ever look at him and go, all right, I understand it now. Can you get past it? That to me, a year from now is when we'll know that answer on whether or not if it was Jay getting it done or not.
And he was reportedly telling, his employees, those that he met with in, I believe it was ahead of the RBC Canadian Open, when this news broke, and the cameras were filming for Full Swing. So I'm very excited to see
I cannot wait for that.
This is going to play out. But he reportedly told them that they can't compete with the foreign government for unlimited money. So at least you're getting to the root of the issue right away, right off the bat, and being honest about it. But he has a lot of egg on his face, Peter, and it's going to take a long time and a lot of money that he needs to make for a lot of different people for that to go away. But I just remember thinking, can he survive this as the commissioner of this league, who probably has a lot of players not happy right now with the decision that he made, not even asking for anybody's opinion, going behind their back, kind of doing this in the middle of the night, and then we find out Tuesday morning about it via a tweet?
But because the only people that he could have gone to, Courtney, would have been the Rory McIlroys of the world, the guys that passed up $400 million, Tiger Woods, who passed up $750 million allegedly. Even further down the list, Sam Burns, who allegedly, passed up $8,500 million. Like, the guys, can you imagine him going to and asking for this kind of quote unquote your thoughts on it? Oh, by the way, you turned down $250 million.
Mm-hmm.
But are we cool to take it? Like, how would that? He had to. I mean, I don't know what the leadership standpoint of that was, but he had to keep everybody in the dark because there's no way that this deal would have gotten done if that was the case.
And he's going to look like the fall guy in all of this, and rightfully so. Like, he is a hypocrite for what he said. He should have never made those comments to Jim Nantz invoking the names of 9/11 families, because that's what people are going to refer to every single time we talk about this merger. And do as I say, not as I do. I know a lot of people say that to their kids. This is exactly what this is. I feel bad for those who, like the Rorys and the Tigers, not just because of they have career earnings that will surpass a lot of the other golfers who are going to get edged out now with the live golfers being back in the field. It's just unfortunate how this whole thing came together, and now we still don't actually know the real information about how it's going to look.
I do have information about an actual mascot being knocked out. That coming up next. Best week ever.
This week on Sunday Night Baseball.
Now Manny walks out toward the mound.
One of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports begins another chapter. The Boston Red Sox head to the Bronx and go head-to-head with the New York Yankees. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen and watch on the ESPN app.
Finally, baseball is back. Swing into the season with tickets to the action. Plus, with basketball and hockey heating up, now is a great time to experience a game. Vivid Seats is proud to be the official ticketing partner of ESPN. From on the glass to in the stands, Vivid Seats has great ticket prices to all the games. Every crack of the bat, every dribble down the court. Catch it all with Vivid Seats. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Experience it live. MLB fans, when you need tickets to catch your favorite team live all season long, Ticketmaster's got them. As the world's largest ticket marketplace, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats available and at competitive prices, so you never have to worry about missing a game. Take yourself out to the ballpark this season and get tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/MLB. That's Ticketmaster.com/MLB.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like, what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
Did you know YouTube TV is more than cable for less than cable? That's right. YouTube TV has no long-term contracts or hidden fees, and it even lets you catch up to the live game with key plays. With a lineup of over 100 channels, you can watch live TV like cable. Signing up is simple. Get started in minutes, and you can watch all the action of the NBA Finals live on ABC. So what are you waiting for? Try it free today at youtube.com/NBA23. New users only. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
You've never had anything like Kentucky Fried Chicken's new chicken nuggets. They're so good, you'll hear a random choir singing every time you open the box. Don't believe me? Just listen. Box open.
KFC, chicken nuggets, KFC.
Box close. Open.
Original recipe and rabbit, KFC.
Close. Can we get a remix? Order KFC's new chicken nuggets on the KFC app today. That's finger looking good. Prices and participation may vary.
The WNBA is off to a record-setting start. This season's about super team expectations.
Welcome to York.
Epic homecomings.
Welcome home, Brittany Griner.
And a shiny new rookie class.
Miller, look at the speed. Going to the hoop. This is just the beginning.
The WNBA. We're all about it. Dallas at New York. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Presented by Google.
Mike Greenberg is Greeny.
He went to Boston and it ended in disaster. He went to Brooklyn and it ended in disaster. He went to Dallas, and I guess it's not over, but it was an unadulterated disaster what happened there. There's a buyer beware element with Kyrie that I totally get. But would I be surprised if the Lakers make a real push? Certainly if LeBron pushes hard for Kyrie, I would not be surprised at all.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
Jimmy Joe Pesci. Blessings on blessings to everybody on this show, the realest show on ESPN. Why I think Mike is better than LeBron? I'm going to tell you. Numbers don't lie. We're going to do numbers. If you put $100 on LeBron losing all his championships, you will be up $600. If you put $10,000 on Mike winning or his championship, you will be up $60,000. 60 versus 600.
You only put 100 on one, you put 10,000 on the other.
But yeah, numbers don't lie, Max. Numbers don't lie. That's it. I understand that, but ain't nobody on the show a mathematician, so numbers don't lie.
Key, Jay, and Max. Followed by Greeny. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. Game 4 Stanley Cup Finals goes to the Vegas Golden Knights. 3-2 over the Florida Panthers. Vegas jumping out to a 3-0 lead and then hanging on for the win. And after the buzzer, well, things got a little testy.
The game is over. The Knights survive. Now a big pile in front of the goal. Hill jumps in as well. His helmet is off. Several players tackling each other. The linesman now restrained Hill. Several things are being thrown onto the ice as we speak. The Knights have won Game 4, barely surviving.
Well, that call on 98.9 Fox Sports in Las Vegas. It's now a 3-1 series lead for Vegas, the Golden Knights, and Florida Panthers. Game 5, Tuesday night in Las Vegas. Major League Baseball Saturday. The Braves beat Washington 6-4 to increase their winning streak to 7 in a row. The Mets knock off the Pirates 5-1. That snaps a 7-game losing streak. Red Sox fall to the Yankees 3-1. And that collision of arch rivals is the Sunday night baseball game of the week, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when the coverage begins here on ESPN Radio. First pitch on radio and ESPN at 7 Eastern. Arcangelo wins the 155th Belmont Stakes, and that makes trainer Jen Antonucci the first female trainer to ever win the Belmont at the UFC 289 fighting. The legendary Amanda Nunes beats Irene Aldana in the unanimous decision, and announcing after the fight she's retiring, going out as UFC featherweight and bantamweight champ.
Coming up Monday, I'm going to tell you why it's time for the Lakers to stop playing around and make sure they end up with one of these point guards. Monday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
It's such a good rejoin here on Best Week Ever on ESPN Radio. Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin, presented by Progressive Insurance. The living on a prayer. Does it mean the Florida Panthers living on a prayer down 3-1 now for Golden Knights? Does it mean the Miami Heat living on a prayer 3-1 down to the Denver Nuggets? Is it PGA Tour golf and Live Golf living on a prayer and they finally got it done? That could be it. Last thing before we get into the NBA here, Courtney, about this Live Golf PGA Tour thing is Jay Monahan had said there will be some loyalty provided, and some I don't know what that means as far as for the guys that stuck with the PGA Tour. Now maybe that means some type of equity ownership in this new for-profit whatever this thing is called that is under the umbrella of PGA Tour and Live Golf. I just don't know how they make that work. And they've already given all this money on this PIP deal, which is basically how much social media buzz you generate. You get a fraction of that. Remember, Tiger Woods has won it before, and Max Homa's done extremely well on it. Like they award all this money depending on how much buzz you put around the league. So they already divvied up that money. They already increased the purses, to compete with Live. So they're not going to get rid of the PIP stuff. They're not going to get rid of these higher purses. And now they're saying they're going to make these guys somewhat whole for they stuck out. But how do you do that? That's what's going to be fascinating about this.
The equity thing is interesting. My first thought is, are there back wages that Jay Monahan, who what we know right now, he's going to be over this whole thing. So he will oversee both the PGA Tour and Live Golf once this agreement's finalized. So I guess it's his discretion as to how he's able to reward those who are loyal to him, the Rory McIlroys, certainly Tiger Woods. And if you're looking at this saying, well, they don't really need any sort of back wages or the money that they left on the table. They've made a lot of career earnings. You're right. But it's also, think about how loyal they were to an organization that went behind their back and did exactly what they were hoping that they wouldn't do. There has to be something financially now that they are partnering with the PIF. I mean, if Jay Monahan reportedly, according to the Wall Street Journal, was telling his employees that they can't compete with government money, and that's the reason that this whole thing had to happen. Now at least you'll have a foreign government with unlimited money to then pay those who stood by you throughout this entire last year and at least reward them financially that way. It's such a weird look because we just don't know how, we don't know how the structure is going to look and who's going to have the power to do that and give them what many think that they deserve.
Then you spin it forward and you start thinking, all right, if the Saudis do this, and basically in essence they're investing in kind of for a most part of funding PGA Tour golf, right? That was the whole idea. The Saudis want to get into the game of golf, and when they looked at which way they could go one of two different ways. They could partner with the PGA Tour, do that. That was going to be a no-go. So they decided, all right, we're going to launch our own thing. And had they not had Greg Norman at the front part of this, I don't know if they would have gotten a lot of players over to Live Golf. Okay, one, but two, it basically said that you were going to go to war with the PGA Tour, because the PGA Tour and Greg Norman, they were in each other's face. Jay Monahan and a lot of those guys did not like the way that Greg Norman had handled things in the past and in the present. And same thing, Greg Norman wanted to be up in their face, right? And ultimately that worked out, because they got enough players over there that wanted to do the heel turn and go to Live Golf, and that all of a sudden it created this kind of war back and forth, which got litigated out. And now they were sick and tired of paying lawyers and sick and tired of this arms race that now that they got back together. So I don't know if Greg Norman's going to be a part of this going forward, but at the end of the day, it ended up working for Live. All right, let's switch gears and let's get back to a little NBA.
Here's Murray. Sends it on top to Jokic. A wide open three. He's going to make another. Here's Bruce Brown for three. It's good. What a night for Bruce Brown in Game 4. The Denver Nuggets have won 5 straight on the road, and they're headed home for a chance at their first NBA title.
We know we're going to have to go home and turn off the TV, the radio. Don't read the papers. Don't listen to everybody telling you how great you are, because we haven't done a damn thing yet. We have to win another game to be world champions.
Read the papers. Embrace it. Go see our buddy Woody Page and Mark Kisla, the Denver Post. You've won. World title. Unbelievable for the Denver Nuggets, as I think that they will close out the Miami Heat coming up in Game 5 over in the Ball Center, and it's going to be wild. Okay, there's going to be so many Bronco fans that are going to be sitting there going, man, I was always a Nuggets fan, Courtney. I was always in, right? Like in San Antonio when they first won that world title, it was all we had, right? If you lived in San Antonio, you lived in the 210, it was everything. It was flags flying, people honking downtown. I mean, the crazy chaos of 99 and 03 and 05 and 07. For the Denver Nuggets, they're going to get that. But I do smell conspiracy.
Okay.
There was something that happened in Game 5, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy, okay? I do believe there were 2 shooters in the grassy knoll, but that's a whole completely different story. Is the fact that I don't believe Conor McGregor actually knocked out Bernie the mascot and forced him to go to the hospital. I think it's fake. I think it's a conspiracy theory. If you haven't watched or seen this, is Conor McGregor, I think it was right before the 4th quarter, they decided to bring him out and do some bit where he knocks out Bernie, the mascot, which I'm not sure how many people knew the Miami Heat actually had a mascot. Did you know?
No, absolutely not. I did.
Okay.
How many NBA franchises could you name have a mascot?
Well, I know Rocky for the Nuggets. And
Benny the Bull. That's the only
Benny the
one that
Bull.
comes to me like right off the top of mind.
The Coyote for the San Antonio Spurs. They have that. There's some weird figure for the Houston Rockets. But okay, you got me off topic here. And the fact that he goes out there, he punches them, and it's for some promotional pain relief spray. And then like McGregor does this thing where he sprays the guy or whatever. Well, now we find out that the person who plays Bernie actually had to go to the hospital afterwards. I think it's all a bit. I think it's a bit by Connor's people. I think it's a bit by the pain relief company that's in charge of it. I don't actually believe. I am a truther when it comes to Bernie the mascot not having to go to the hospital.
So you think that it was just a precautionary thing? He's not actually hurt, or maybe he didn't actually go to the hospital?
No, I don't even think he went to the hospital.
Okay.
I don't think. I need to see a bracelet. I need to see listen, I know there's HIPAA. Is there HIPAA for mascots? Like,
I believe
can you
that
violate a
extends to them
mascot's
too.
right?
Yeah, I believe that there's a person inside there. I would imagine it extends to them as well.
I'm not believing it. Mikey, do you think that we can, Harry, weigh in here? Do we think that we would violate HIPAA rights for Bernie the mascot? Where's the line here for HR?
Those mascot heads, I would think that they are pretty cushiony in there.
Right?
Not that I would want to take a punch from Conor McGregor, but I think it might be enough to, keep me out of the hospital at least.
Yeah, listen, I don't think that they go through concussion protocol. Like, will he be back for the next game? If Miami, does he have to pass test to get back in? I have so many questions. And so therefore, Courtney, I'm a firm believer of 2 things. 1, that this was all a bit. And 2, Bernie making $600,000 as the mascot is an incredible job. Like that to me, making $600,000 as a mascot, whew, that's solid.
I would love to know where that ranks among the all-time mascot list. Hopefully, if he is hurt, he ends up getting some of the proceeds of Conor McGregor's pain relief spray that he was hawking at the game and spraying him towards the end. But you're actually starting to pull me into this conspiracy. I'm watching the video again, and I'm not trying to make fun of this guy if he is really hurt, but it is kind of funny when the staff members for probably the marketing department of the Miami Heat are pulling his lifeless mascot body off the court and, to safety. Did anybody see the mascot get out of the suit and then go in a stretcher and go to the hospital?
But it also was the most Miami thing ever. And the fact of here you are, to bring out this character who I by all accounts, for the most amount of people, I would ask if you polled America, what's your thoughts on Conor McGregor? More than likely, you're going to get sub 50 as far as approval, right? Not many people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. Okay. And yet here you are in a game that basically is a closeout game. You're not going to win the title if you lose this. Right before the 4th quarter, you bring out Conor McGregor. He's booed. It totally kills the vibe in the arena to do this bit for, I don't even know how much money you made from the pain relief company, which will not be getting a plug here on ESPN Radio.
I have the top 5 highest paid NBA mascots, if you guys are curious.
He's got to be. I don't know if Bernie's on the list. I think Rocky is on that list. What is that?
He's actually number 1 at 625,000.
Yeah.
Then Harry the Hawk with 600,000. Benny the Bull 400. Go the Gorilla, only $200,000 a year, and Hugo the Hornet, $100,000 a year.
Wow. So wait, so those are the top 5? Like there's 2 that make that much money, and then this is incredible. I would not have expected.
Might be in the wrong field.
I was going to say, is there a mascot free agency? Like Dalvin Cook, do they cut Rocky and then all of a sudden he puts out a resume and then like they negotiate for a new Benny the Bull? Courtney, I've got so many questions here.
There are quite a few that I have as well. And I think that I'm going to start, just maybe exploring some other options. I'm still going to do the show here with you on ESPN Radio. But man, if I can make $600,000 taking a punch from Conor McGregor,
how tall?
I might do it.
How tall are you?
5'6.5".
See, I feel like that's a good, solid mascot size. I feel like 6'3", I'm too tall and lanky to be in a mascot deal. I feel like 5'6", like you and Dari Noka would be great mascots. I feel like that's the case.
Okay, then I think we need to make it happen.
Can you imagine if all of a sudden Bernie pulled off his head and it ended up being Mel Kiper Jr.? That would be fantastic. And his hair's just perfect with the hairspray. I'll be all in on that. Rapid fire water cooler coming up next, where, believe it or not, we'll actually talk even more sports. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, CP3. I'll tell you where they all go and what their best landing spots are. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
I'm Andrea, founder of a boutique handbag brand, Andy, and this is why I switched to Shopify. I tried 3 other platforms prior to Shopify, and I remember my breaking point was when I would try to make one little change and my entire site would go down. Shopify made it really easy for me to shift everything over and hit the ground running. I was easily able to migrate my products and all of my customer information over. With the drag and drop theme editor, we don't need to hire a developer to do any coding. What's amazing is that each theme is automatically optimized on mobile. It's incredible. It looks even better on the phone. We really like adventure. We would not be able to go on the road without a platform that we can rely on. What are you waiting for? Start your free trial with Shopify today.
From templates that make site design simple to customizations that let you grow at your pace, this is your possibility powered by Shopify. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/play. That's shopify.com/play. Go to shopify.com/play to take your business to the next level today.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
Coming up Monday on Canty and Carlin, the Nuggets take a commanding 3-1 lead in the finals. As the series shifts back to Denver, can Jimmy Buckets save the Heat season? That's Monday, Canty and Carlin, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio.
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
This is the hope in the NBA, right? That you don't have to be Los Angeles or Golden State where Kevin Durant wants to come or LeBron James wants to come, that you can do it that way. I've compared Milwaukee and Denver potentially now winning as a reason why you have hope.
Absolutely. It's a reminder, not, Denver, but then also like you look at Miami, like it's slapping us all in the face. Like this is a team sport.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Did you miss Canty and Carlin?
Jokic not even picking up the MVP trophy. They had to fly over and give it to him. When it came to his contract extension, yeah, come on over, I'll sign it, whatever. No drama, no nothing around that. He kind of feels like Tim Duncan, I don't really want most of the attention that comes with this. I don't think he purposely shoves it away. He certainly doesn't feel like he seeks it out.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Best week ever, ESPN Radio, Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin. By the way, I realized why Rocky makes $600,000 a year. The mascot for the Denver Nuggets, If you've ever gone back and looked at the film, and I was living in Denver at the time, and I vaguely remember this, is that they've got the video of Rocky being like, what would you call it? Just being lowered from the top of what at that point was the Pepsi Center for, kind of, hey, we're going to bring Rocky down and get the crowd going. Like the cheerleaders are on the field and stuff like that. And they had like a harness and he had passed out. So I feel like that was like part of his salary negotiation. Like I literally had to go to the hospital, not because Conor McGregor punched me in some bad bit, but like you nearly killed me and passed out. So therefore he probably got to negotiate his own salary.
I mean, if that's what it takes to get an extra $100,000 on your salary, then sign us all up. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's okay.
Speak for yourself, Courtney. My goodness. Like I don't know.
Did he pass out because he's afraid of heights? Was it one of those like freak out
I think
moments?
it's because they actually had the harness on him, which was part of it. Anyway, regardless, you've got Miami, you've got Nuggets going back into Denver. Should be all but a coronation. I would imagine. Any chance? Are you saying there's any chance that the Heat get in here? I mean, you are talking the dog that is Jimmy Butler, like who feels like it almost feels like they play better when their back's up against the wall.
I hate doing that. I hate betting against the Miami Heat because every time I have, they've been able to surprise us and come back in the series. Would it surprise me if it goes 6? No. I picked Nuggets in 6. You did Nuggets in 5.
Telling me there's a chance.
I guess there's always a chance when it comes to this Miami Heat team. I just think that Eric Spoelstra has taken this group, the talent of this group, as far as they can go. And we've asked that question now for about 2 or 3 games. Can anybody outside of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo contribute to take the load off of those two? And the answer's been consistently no. So I think it ends in 5. I think that Denver gets their first world title on Monday night. And I can't wait to see what Ball Arena looks like. Hopefully no mascots passing out.
If they do, they will get a brand new contract. All right, it is time for a little rapid fire water cooler. Boys, let's roll.
Rapid fire water cooler.
By the way, Courtney, if you are a mascot and you're scared of heights, probably not the best career option for yourself.
I mean, it's always part of it that you either are trapezing down. I don't know. What do you call it? Descending down from the ceiling?
Yeah, but that's in, I mean, like, I don't think NFL mascots are that way. I mean, do they?
I've seen a video where the Jacksonville Jaguars guy comes in on a zip line from
Jackson
the top
DeVille.
level. That's a great name.
I will say this, though. Mascots are awesome. We went to the College World Series Super Regional yesterday for Wake Forest in Alabama. I took the kids up there. And literally, where the kids are just in full meltdown mode. It's like 90 degrees. We're watching baseball. I'm in a good spot. But the kids are like, more ice cream, more Dippin' Dots. And all of a sudden, they're like, there's the mascot. They saw the Wake Forest mascot, which is a creepy old-looking dude. And, like, the kids just made a beeline over there. And then the mascot was kind of, he was actually okay, but he was making a big point because the kids were wearing Alabama gear, but he did take a picture. So mascots, God bless them. They do their work. All right, what else we got?
Speaking of Dippin' Dots, Virginia relief pitcher Steven, I do not know how to pronounce that last name, Schkock, whatever it is. Scooch. Let's go with that.
I don't know.
Loves his Dippin' Dots so much he was almost willing to throw yesterday's game, but not quite.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it, which the price of Dippin' Dots with inflation is just unreal. So for a brief moment, I was like, damn, Dippin' Dots sound good. But also I thought in the back of my head, we win today, we win tomorrow, or tonight. We're going to be here another day. That's more per diem. So that means I can buy my own Dippin' Dots and be a winner. So it's like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to attack. I think 3 words every time I'm out there. The first one's a swear word, starts with F. Second word's attack. Third one's win. And I just repeat that to myself. Unless, there's a breach in the system and I walk a guy and I got to tell myself I'm a few different things that isn't a winner. I might break that, but then I get right back on it. Just this attack win,
So, Courtney, when is the last time you or have you ever had Dippin' Dots?
I have. Back in the late 90s when they were invented, they would be at movie theaters. So you have to go to a movie to get the ice cream of the future because apparently they were projecting that all ice cream would turn to be these, little tiny molecules that were frozen. They're not that great. I mean, like, I'm not like a Dippin' Dots
Hush
hater.
your mouth, Courtney Cronin.
I would rather have real
Hush-
ice cream. Give me Cold Stone.
hush
Give me
your
Baskin
mouth.
Robbins.
Courtney-
Anything. Sorry,
Courtney
Peter.
Cronin.
This is my controversial food take of the morning. I don't
What
know
are you,
the last
Randy
time
Scott
I would have.
now?
We
Dan
all.
Orlovsky?
I mean, I would love to know what Dan thinks about this because he is the ESPN controversial.
He likes his
food
Dippin'
take
Dots with
artist.
ketchup.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I don't know the last time I had it. I can tell you the first time I had it. I think I went to go see Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and I had Dippin' Dots. Great
That is
combination.
like a weird, rare pool, right? Like I was thinking it would have been like Jurassic Park or something other than that. The fact that you pull Eternal Spotless Mind, whatever it is, and Dippin' Dots, it's a hell of a 1-2 combo. Last time I had Dippin' Dots was legitimately 8 hours ago at the ballpark. I'm all in. Ballpark nachos are number 1 on the draft pick. Dippin' Dots might be number 2 because
Are
Dippin'
they
Dots
as
actually.
expensive as Stephen Scotch was claiming they are?
Conspiracy theory. I think he was pining for a name, image, likeness deal, and I don't hate it.
Picking up what you're putting down.
By the way,
I
Virginia
agree.
beat Duke yesterday 14-4. So the ACC is at least guaranteed one team over into the College World Series. Harry, what else?
All right, real quick. Yesterday, a British Royal Guard collapsed during a parade rehearsal because it was pretty hot out, and the show just went on. Courtney, thoughts?
I thought he was playing his trombone when he was on the ground at first, so I had to like watch the video a couple times. Turns out he wasn't, but credit to everybody else. They were not stopping that show for anything, Peter.
That was a brutal look, right? Like just all of a sudden the guy goes down and the band just keeps on playing. Like nobody's like, Lloyd, are you okay? Get the man some water. Nobody. Like, do you get in trouble?
I would
if
imagine.
somebody went to go help the guy?
If you break rank, probably.
It's just unbelievable. I'd rather be a mascot. At least the mascots get paid at that point, rather than just being lying on the floor at 90 degrees or whatever it was. Unreal. That went all over the map. We get back on it. We talk a little bit about Stanley Cup NBA Finals coming up, and we return here. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever.
The name of this team is officially the Mighty Ducks.
We went from the Mighty Ducks. That's a true story, unfortunately, to a team that nobody was laughing about.
These Mighty Ducks, they're not a movie, but they are the feel-good story so far.
E60 presents Once Upon a Time in Anaheim. Today, 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Streaming same day on ESPN+.
Finally, baseball is back. Swing into the season with tickets to the action. Plus, with basketball and hockey heating up, now is a great time to experience a game. Vivid Seats is proud to be the official
up there, and literally we're the kids are just in full meltdown mode. It's like 90 degrees. We're watching baseball. I'm in a good spot, but the kids are like, more ice cream, more Dippin' Dots, and all of a sudden they're like, there's the mascot. They saw the Wake Forest mascot, which is a creepy old looking dude, and like the kids just made a beeline over there. And then the mascot was kind of he was actually okay, but he was making a big point because the kids were wearing Alabama gear, but he did take a picture. So mascots, God bless them. They do their work. All right, what else we got?
Speaking of Dippin' Dots, Virginia relief pitcher Stephen, I do not know how to pronounce that last name, Schkock, whatever it is. Scooch. Let's go with that.
I don't know.
Loves his Dippin' Dots so much he was almost willing to throw yesterday's game, but not quite.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it, which the price of Dippin' Dots with inflation is just unreal. So for a brief moment, I was like, damn, Dippin' Dots sound good. But also I thought in the back of my head, we win today, we win tomorrow, or tonight. We're going to be here another day. That's more per diem. So that means I can buy my own Dippin' Dots and be a winner. So it's like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to attack. I think 3 words every time I'm out there. The first one's a swear word, starts with F. Second word's attack. Third one's win. And I just repeat that to myself. Unless, there's a breach in the system and I walk a guy and I got to tell myself I'm a few different things that isn't a winner. I might break that, but then I get right back on it. Just this attack win,
So, Courtney, when is the last time you or have you ever had Dippin' Dots?
I have. Back in the late 90s when they were invented, they would be at movie theaters. So you have to like go to a movie to get the ice cream of the future, because apparently they were projecting that all ice cream would turn to be these, little tiny molecules that were frozen. They're not that great. I mean, like, I'm not like a Dippin' Dots
Hush
hater.
your mouth, Courtney Cronin.
I would rather have real ice cream. Give me Cold Stone. Give me Baskin Robbins.
Courtney,
Anything. Sorry,
Courtney
Peter.
Cronin.
This is my controversial food take of the morning. I don't know the last
Randy
time
Scott
I would have.
now?
We
Dan
all.
Orlovsky?
I mean, I would love to know what Dan thinks about this, because he is the ESPN controversial.
He likes his
food
Dippin'
take
Dots with
artist.
ketchup.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. I don't know. I don't know the last time I had it. I can tell you the first time I had it. I think I went to go see Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and I had Dippin' Dots. Great
That is
combination.
like a weird, rare pool, right? Like, I was thinking it would have been like Jurassic Park or something other than that. The fact that you pull Eternal Spotless Mind, whatever it is, and Dippin' Dots, it's a hell of a 1-2 combo. Last time I had Dippin' Dots was legitimately 8 hours ago at the ballpark. I'm all in. Ballpark nachos are number one on the draft pick. Dippin' Dots might be number two. Because
Are
Dippin'
they as
Dots actually,
expensive as Stephen Scotch was claiming they are?
conspiracy theory, I think he was pining for a name, image, likeness deal, and I don't hate it.
Picking up what you're putting down.
By the way,
I
Virginia
agree.
beat Duke yesterday 14-4. So the ACC is at least guaranteed one team over into the College World Series. Harry, what else?
All right, real quick. Yesterday, a British Royal Guard collapsed during a parade rehearsal because it was pretty hot out, and the show just went on. Courtney, thoughts?
I thought he was playing his trombone when he was on the ground at first, so I had to watch the video a couple times. Turns out he wasn't, but credit to everybody else. They were not stopping that show for anything, Peter.
That was a brutal look, right? Like, just all of a sudden the guy goes down and the band just keeps on playing. Like, nobody's like, Lloyd, are you okay? Get the man some water. Nobody. Like, do you get in trouble?
I would
if
imagine.
somebody went to go help the guy?
If you break rank, probably.
It's just unbelievable. I'd rather be a mascot. At least the mascots get paid at that point, rather than just being lying on the floor at 90 degrees or whatever it was. Unreal. That went all over the map. We get back on it. We talk a little bit about Stanley Cup NBA Finals coming up, and we return here. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever.
Your morning starts with TJ and Max.
Joe Montana in his day, he was that dude. On and off the field, he was that dude.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, followed by Greeny. It all starts at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
The great symphonies and the most moving chamber compositions are all on TuneIn Sounds of the Symphony Station. Listen to the world's sweeping masterworks, from the greats like Mozart, Beethoven, and so much more on all your devices so you can stay focused and get lost in your favorite compositions. Just search Sounds of the Symphony on TuneIn to listen.
Hey, true crime fans, have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
The TuneIn app is the most convenient way to access all your favorite audio on the go. Download the TuneIn app and stay plugged into wherever your day takes you. With TuneIn, you can listen to the best music, podcasts, talk shows, and sports, no matter where you are. Search for TuneIn in the App Store to download the app today.
Listeners, get ready to discover the best of audiobooks now on TuneIn Premium. We're excited to offer you access to over 100,000 audiobooks. No matter your preference or genre, you're sure to find your new favorite story. Enjoy unlimited listening to your heart's content. No credits needed. All the stories you want to hear, all in one place at one great price. Search Premium to upgrade now and start listening today.
Looking for some new podcasts to binge? You're in luck. Audible is bringing 24 incredible new pods right to TuneIn. Stream some new favorites like Heads Will Roll by Kate McKinnon with performances from Meryl Streep and Tim Gunn.
Listen is fair. Lend me your...
Punk in Translation, in English or Spanish, Killing Hollywood, The Cotton Club Murder, and so many more. All ready to stream on all your devices. Just search Audible on TuneIn to listen.
And a curveball smacked into left center field.
As a sports fan, you know action. And TuneIn is here to bring you all the action. From nonstop live sports coverage from the biggest leagues.
Ovechkin with a steal. Chance here on the break-in. Kuznetsov fires. Scores!
To in-depth podcasts on what's going on with your favorite teams. And all the game-changing content in between.
Randall, step back three.
TuneIn is the playbook for sports fans.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy, candy, yeah.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah,
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals turns into a Vegas Golden Knights victory. 3-2 over the Florida Panthers on Saturday. And now Vegas with a 3-1 lead in the series. One win from hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup for the first time. Denver Nuggets are one win away from capturing their first NBA title as the Nuggets will host the Miami Heat Monday night. It'll be Game 5 of the NBA Finals. And Ryan Edwards of KOA in Denver says, oh, that Mile High City's going bonkers.
I mean, it's an unbelievable city when the sports teams are doing really well. Usually it's a Broncos town, but I'll say this, man, when the local team's doing well, people are fired up, and Nuggets fans who've been waiting for this, as you mentioned, for 47 years, quite a few of them have come out of the woodwork and celebrated.
That is Ryan Edwards on ESPN Radio's Game Night. ESPN Radio coverage of Game 5 of the NBA Finals begins 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday night. Tip on radio and ABC television, 8:30 Eastern. Again, Monday night. French Open, third seed Novak Djokovic going for that record 23rd Grand Slam title. He's going to take on the fourth seed Casper Ruud. Play begins in about a half an hour at Roland Garros. On the PGA Tour, the RBC Canadian Open, CT Pan has a two-shot lead after 3 rounds over 5 golfers. Among them, defending champ Rory McIlroy. Major League Baseball on Saturday, Braves extend their winning streak to 7 with a 6-4 victory over the Washington Nationals.
Coming up Monday, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, CP3. I'll tell you where they all go and what their best landing spots are. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is the best week ever with Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
I have no idea how this hour of the show is going to work, Courtney, because in hour one, we talked about mascot conspiracy theories. We talked about Live Golf finding a way to make the PGA Tour fold. Chaos. Even the Buckingham Palace guards passing out because of the heat. You never know what you're going to get on this Sunday morning. With Dots. And Dippin' Dots, right?
Controversial takes all around the board.
No, only yours was controversial, saying that you thought Dippin' Dots were overrated. I, Peter Burns, do not adhere to that policy. You can follow me on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN. You can follow her on Twitter and her bad Dippin' Dot takes at Courtney R. Cronin. Or you can follow at ESPN because they give you highlights of things like this. As it was Chandler Stevenson saying, I'm not going to score one, but I'm going to score two right off the bat for the Golden Knights.
Stone slowing Bennett's breakout attempt to the far side. Stahl is checked in the neutral zone. Puck comes back to the Vegas end. Hay rips it forward. Tip puck gathered by Stevenson. Backhands it forward. Swatted into the zone. Down the left wall by Stone. He breaks left circle. Looks to the middle of the shot. Stevenson scores.
Teams up 3-1, have won 36 of the last 37 Stanley Cups. The last time that did happen, that you had kind of a, Cavs versus Warriors type situation was 2016. For them, it was 1942, and the Toronto Maple Leafs did it. I think that, isn't that like, Harry, the last time the Maple Leafs actually won a cup?
It is not the last time they won one. It's close, though. The last time Toronto won a Stanley Cup was 55 years ago in 1967, which is the longest drought in Stanley Cup history. Meanwhile, you have two other teams who haven't won one in their existence that has been over 50 years. The Vancouver Canucks and Buffalo Sabres both haven't won one, and they were founded in 1971.
So it's interesting because Harry had brought it up, Courtney, earlier in the break. It's like, it's got to kill you if you're a Maple Leaf fan or like a Canuck. If you're sitting there going, really? Vegas is on the cusp of another Stanley Cup. Like, how old is this franchise? So it's 6 years old?
6 years old. And yeah. I mean, well, hey, if you're Toronto, you're just happy you got out of the first round this year, Peter. Baby steps.
The same thing, like Vancouver, right? I mean, they love their hockey up there. And, of course, for Buffalo, I mean, they sit there and go, man, really? I mean, now the Florida Panthers, what have they been around since early
1993?
93, and you have yet to win it. Again, just goes to show you, like, it is wide open in the NHL. I'm fine with it. I mean, I think the biggest thing, a takeaway I have from this, Courtney, is the fact of, 10 years ago, we looked at going, Las Vegas as a city will never have professional franchises, and now you see the Aces have won a national or have won a title in the WNBA. We see Vegas on the cusp of winning another Stanley Cup final. I can only imagine this amount of time before you get Major League Baseball that's going to be over there, and same situation with the NBA. I mean, it's all happening.
Yeah, and don't forget they've got an NFL franchise. Don't know how close the Raiders are to winning a championship, but at least they're out there. Sustainable.
Only if they get Dalvin Cook. I still think, again, wish they would have gone with Derek Carr and stayed, but that wasn't going to happen. All right, let's talk a little basketball. Let's roll. Nuggets up 3-1 on the Heat. They're winning it all. We said it. We talked about it. In 5, I called it earlier. You said that it was going to be 6. But I think the more intriguing part about this is two things. One, it'll be as soon as the title is done and the Nuggets win, it'll be all eyes will shift to how long Ja Morant is going to be suspended for. So that's a whole different conversation. But I think that there will be kind of an autopsy of what this NBA season looked like. And there's going to be some haters because people are going to say, well, it was the Denver Nuggets that won it, kind of like how when the Milwaukee Bucks won it. And I think that's just completely idiotic. I think that you're going to go back and look at this season as a monster success for the NBA, Courtney, because you're going to look at franchises that believe we don't have to be Brooklyn. We don't have to be Los Angeles. We don't have to be these places where we have to have a triumvirate, where we have to have 2 max stars in order to win it all. That if we have patience and we build a team the right way, look at what the Nuggets did. And I think that's great for the league and the overall health of the league.
It is, because you are seeing the super team era move to the back burner, and that's a good thing for business. I don't know, I know what Adam Silver said previously, that he doesn't like players having public trade requests and going about it that way. And a lot of times those happen because guys want to link up with each other and they want to create super teams where they're in charge of their futures, and that's fine. But the way that Denver, and we can get to Miami, but the way that Denver built this team, the Aaron Gordon trade that kind of changed everything, and then finding the supporting cast that has played a monumental role. I mean, we know that Nikola Jokic is incredible, and the two-man game that he has with Jamal Murray is unstoppable, very clearly, as evidenced by how the series has gone so far. But it's Bruce Brown, it's Aaron Gordon, it's Michael Porter Jr., give or take a couple games here and there. That's really been what's shown the strength of this team, is also their depth.
It's the depth, right? And it's you go back and look at the end of this season. And I think also too, and I don't know if it's a conditioning thing, but the load management thing is a real deal, right? Like the amount of stars now, and in fact, so much so that Adam Silver had to come out and rearrange how awards are done, contracts are done, and the fact that you got to play X amount of games. I just think as you get longer and further deeper into a season, there's going to be teams that are not necessarily ready for this. And the altitude over in Denver is going to play a role. I mean, that Jimmy Butler has to be exhausted, been banged up for part of the season, has basically put the heat on his back. And to think you got to go play up at altitude this last game on game 100 and some odd of the season for him, I just don't see it happening at all. And I love Jimmy Butler. I'd love for him, and I think that he'll go down swinging. I would be shocked if they don't put up forth a monster effort. But Nuggets are just too much for him.
They are, and it's no real fault of the Miami Heat. They have pushed their talent as far as they can go. But when you look at the top two players on each team, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic versus Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, it's very clear who has the edge there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you can look back at this Miami Heat team, their season, the fact that they were an 8 seed and got all the way to the NBA Finals and may push this thing to 5 games, maybe even push it to 6. It's nothing other than a success, considering the group that they have, now what they know, now the voids that you see. Like, I mean, maybe Damian Lillard goes down there and free as a trade during the offseason. Like, they've been able to expose what their needs are, especially in that backcourt, that I wouldn't be surprised if they're back at this spot in a year.
I'd hate to see Lillard go out there because I'd love the fact that he's at Portland, but you could tell that he's not necessarily happy. And that talks a little bit about, hey, okay, Lillard couldn't do what Jokic did, which is get a team around him to win it all. And if that's the case, even going to be easier for the Nuggets to start becoming the San Antonio Spurs and winning multiple world titles over there in the West. All right, while it's not good for the Panthers and not good for the Heat over in South Florida, there is big news when it comes to the NFL and soccer in that part of the world. We'll tell you what that is coming up next. Peter Burns, Courtney Cronin, best week ever on ESPN Radio.
Here's Bruce Brown for 3. It's good. What a night for Bruce Brown. The Denver Nuggets have won 5 straight on the road.
Don't listen to everybody telling you how great you are, because we haven't done a damn thing yet. We have to win another game to be world champions.
This is the best week ever.
Instead of fly ball to left, back onto the track.
Hey, baseball fans, this is Buster Olney of the Baseball Tonight podcast. The MLB season is now playing on TuneIn Premium, featuring live home calls of every Major League Baseball team. Only TuneIn Premium gives you access to blackout-free coverage at home or on the road, from walk-off home runs to no-hitters.
He's done Expo Strolls! The 8th no-hitter in history!
All the way through the World Series. Search MLB to start listening.
Hey, true crime fans, have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
The
Think you know rock, funk, and soul? Think again. Boss Radio 66 delivers music like you've never heard. Hear hits with an off-the-radar twist. Looking for soul classics or high-energy songs from the birth of rock and roll? You'll hear rare selections of your favorite songs on Boss Radio 66 and guest DJs like Tom Hanks spinning go-to songs and lesser-known tunes from icons like the Kinks, the Beatles, and so many more. Travel the backroads of rock, funk, and soul with Boss Radio 66, exclusively on TuneIn.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.